Hi, today I'm going to be stamping with dies again. This is not a new technique at all, and it is definitely one of my favorites. I love dies because there are so many things you can do with them, especially the Floral Garden die set from iCrafter. There's a bunch of different little flowers and leaves and centers that you can die cut from different colors of cardstock or even white cardstock and choose to color them yourself. And you can build up flowers. And it's such a cute little die set. But for me, I'm much more of a clean and simple stamper, and I like to make quick cards. I'm always in need of thank you cards, and so when I see a die set like this, I love these little flowers, but for me it's a lot easier to die cut them once and then stamp. I am a lot faster at stamping than I am at die cutting. So I've chosen two of the little flowers, a couple centers, and then one of the leaves. And I'm going to be just die cutting this once from some fun foam. And then I will add some adhesive to the back. And I'll use some ink to ink this foam up just like a regular stamp and stamp it and fill in my background. Now you can use any kind of ink, dye ink, pigment ink. You can even use Versamark ink and heat emboss. I've done that before. Today I'm using oxide inks. I like the oxide inks because I can clearly see them sitting on top of the fun foam, and I feel like I get good coverage with them. So originally I had started out and I only intended to do this one card. And so I have two different colors of yellow, and in the end the wild honey and the fossilized amber colors weren't that different, but this is probably still my favorite card of the trio that I made. So like I said, I was planning on only making this card. I was just going to do this one stamped background and then have a sentiment on top and be done. But I figured since I had already gone through the trouble of die cutting the fun foam and gluing it onto my acrylic blocks, I might as well make a few more. So I'm going to use my favorite stamp cleaner and just rub that onto my stamp and then rub off any excess ink with a microfiber cloth. And then I just grab a piece of scratch paper and just kind of like stamp and rub this extra ink off until the fun foam, you can see here it's much lighter and you can start to see that originally white color again. And I'm going to start stamping a second background. So this time I'm going to use some Tattered Rose and Abandoned Coral Distress inks, and I'm using the same green, that's peeled paint, for the leaf. All I'm doing is just starting by stamping a couple flowers, and then I'll stamp a few leaves, stamp a few more flowers, and a few more leaves until I have this whole background full of flowers and leaves. And I actually ended up doing a third one. I used Shaded Lilac and Wilted Violet Distress ink. So I have, all in all, a yellow, a pink, and a purple version of this same card. They're a little bit different because I stamped the flowers in different places each time, but you can see that they're pretty much the same general idea. So I have these two centers that I had die cut from fun foam, and I was going to use some colorful centers. But my original idea was to have little black-eyed Susan flowers with that yellow one and stamp with the black soot ink. And I decided to actually just use the black soot for the centers of all of the flowers. And I really like that black contrast against the flowers. So I'm using this larger polka dotted center for that one flower, and then I'll use this tiny little dot for the center of the second flower. And I'm just going to go around and do all three backgrounds and just fill in the centers of all of these flowers. Once I have all three backgrounds done, it's time to add a sentiment. So I'm going to be using the Thanks sentiment, and this is actually from the pop-up wiper insert die set, and this is also from the February release. I have some black cardstock, and I'm going to die cut this a total of 9 times. And actually I ended up folding my cardstock in half so that I could die cut 2 at a time, and things went a lot faster that way. I'm going to use some liquid adhesive and my tweezers and just stack up these sentiments. You can definitely cut tiny little strips of foam tape to go behind these for some dimension, but I didn't want to fuss with it, so I decided to just die cut 3 sentiments for each card, so a total of 9, and then stack them up. And then I'm going to use my liquid adhesive and a T-square ruler once again just to glue these in the top center-ish portion of my card. once I had the sentiments adhered on my cards, I went ahead and added some clear shimmer just to make that black kind of pop a little bit. And then I also added some glossy accents. You can't see that here. I decided to add that later on. So check out the still photos over on my blog to see that glossy accents added on top. Thank you guys so much for joining me. I'll see you soon. Bye.